right, well, welcome to today's 5 at 5 video. As Pastor Mark promised yesterday, this week we have the idea of trying to get in touch with some more people from our church and give you the opportunity to be able to hear some more of what's going on in their hearts and their lives. So today I have Jim and Nancy Peters with us, and welcome to 5 for 5 videos. How do you feel about being part of our 5 for 5 videos?
Well, this is much more interesting in a way because we can participate, and usually we're just the recipient. So now we can participate. We're happy to be here. We miss all you folks on the other end that are going to be watching this today, and we'd like to give you a hug, just all that. But we know we can't, and we're patient to wait for the day, the week, or the month that we do it again.
So put your arms around yourself like this and give yourself a hug. It's from us.
There you go.
That's marvelous. I love that. That's an interesting thing, just to think about how important it is for us to be close to each other and to be. And there we go. We got a phone call coming in right now, so we got to let it ring 2 more times before it goes to the answering machine.
Okay.
Because everybody's going to hear that. Here we go, answering machine. One of the things our culture is finding out right now is just how important that physical touch is, how important it is to give handshakes and give people hugs.
Yes.
Even if you were here stopping by to the office to pick something up, we're not going to give you a hug, we're not going to give you a handshake. Maybe we'll bump an elbow. I think that's approved.
Amen to that.
We appreciate that.
Tell us a little bit about what it's like in your household these days with all of the things that are coming at us with the virus.
Well, all the things in our household is like, it's just the 2 of us. We don't have any grandchildren visiting. We don't have neighbors visiting. We have 2 little boys next door that love to visit. They come to the back slider and they wave to us. And they love to play in our yard, so they come by and look and see if we're looking at them. And that's great. We try to be good neighbors. They're good neighbors to us. And we were responding to our neighborhood the other day by following up on the lesson that we got last Wednesday and Elevate about prayer. And not only were we planning on listening to God in prayer, but we decided to do a prayer walk. So one of our walks around the block, we decided to walk and talk to God about neighbors, people we knew, people we didn't know, and that was a tremendous experience to go to God in prayer for our neighborhood. So we would encourage others to do the same. If it's your neighborhood or whatever kind of prayer system like that you want to utilize, that'd be great.
We took your idea and shared it with a friend from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and she's going to do the same thing.
That's marvelous. Last night we had an elders meeting, and one of the things that one of the elders mentioned regarding the way that God's been working in our hearts through prayer, and I made a connection to that with what we did with the interactive prayer journey at the beginning of this year. These were some of the ways that God was preparing us for today, to be able to walk into all of the difficulties that are going on in our world today. I believe that we as a church and many of the families within the church are walking into this with confidence instead of with fear and anxiety. And a lot of that has to do with how the Lord has prepared us in prayer.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So I know, Jim, you were part of the interactive prayer experience, helping me out in the foyer, talking to people. Do you see any kind of a connection between what people were saying when they came out of that prayer experience and what people are saying now as they're kind of quarantined in their houses?
Well, I think in as much as we're quarantined to the houses, gives us the opportunity, having done that wonderful experience of the prayer journey, to just do it again within our own home. And just be in contact with God about ourselves and our relationship, as well as our relationship with others and God's relationship with them. We are totally concerned with healthcare workers and people on the front lines in many ways that are exposed to people they don't know if they have the virus or not, and they may not be protected adequately.
We have two family members on the front lines, so it's very close to us.
Yeah. And what kind of reports are they giving as far as the things that they're seeing firsthand? It's one thing for us to be able to read about these reports in the newspaper. It's another thing when you're living that day in and day out. What do you hear from them?
That they were not prepared due to a lack or a deficit of personal protective equipment. They're just running out of it, and they're sharing it or they're using it longer period of time when it used to be if a nurse or a doctor left the room with a mask, the mask would get discarded.
First of all, they peel their gloves off, then they take their mask and discard it.
But see, now they can't do it because they don't have one if they throw it away. And so they're very discouraged in a way that they have to work under these circumstances, and they don't have the protective equipment coming in soon enough.
Yeah, I read that a lot of that equipment comes from China, and if China has a shortage themselves, there's no way they're shipping it to us. They're going to be using it for themselves. So, yeah. What do you think? There's anything that we could be doing other than praying for people who are working on those front lines?
Let them know that we care.
Yeah, we can send encouragement to them. You know, like with our son and daughter-in-law, we have connections. We can encourage them personally. And like I talked to somebody the other day, pharmacy, and they couldn't do anything for what I called them for. However, I said, well, thank you for being there. And they said, oh, thank you. Even that in itself being evidence that you care and that you appreciate their services.
Yeah. You know, that attitude of gratitude is just such a different thing in our culture.
Yeah.
If I was standing at Walmart and like 2 or 3 people reached for the last thing on the shelf, there's no way that I would try to wrestle that out of somebody's hand. Or if I had just grabbed that thing and turned around and there was somebody standing there saying, oh, like I had hoped to get that, and I would definitely hand it to them, you know? Just that different philosophy and that different perspective. And as we talked about on Sunday, I think a lot of that has to come just because of our relationship with Christ. We look at this whole thing differently because of who Christ is. So that's pretty
Yes,
neat.
amen.
Yeah,
we have to think is another way of putting it outside the box, out of the 4 walls and into the community, and do these things.
Yeah. I still think that our little town here of Auburn is not experiencing the same kinds of things that a big city like New York is experiencing. And
no, I don't think so either.
That's good.
If that kind of an infection does come to our town, we're going to be able to jump into that situation a lot more confidently, where people are a lot more panicky and a lot more frantic. But right now, for the most part, people are a lot calmer in a town like Auburn than they would be if there was a bigger city.
I think so.
Yeah.
Great.
So hopefully God's preparing us. I know that God's preparing us for something. And as much as I want to know what it is, because I think that's our nature to always figure stuff out and have a good plan, I just have a real strong sense right now, both amongst myself and other people in the church, particularly in conversations with the elders, that there's a sense of peace amongst us, that whatever it is that God is bringing us towards, we feel that we're ready for it. And if we're not ready for it, we know that God will ready us for it when it comes. Do you agree with that, Jim?
Yes. What we could consider was meant for evil, God's going to use it for good.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. Have any other final thoughts you want to share?
Keep up the faith. invite others to listen in online to our service. One of our neighbors listened to our service, and she listened to 2 or 3 other services as well. Hopefully that's not competition, but we like to encourage all you folks to be in touch with each other. Someone you can reach out to with a phone call or a note, a card, and till we meet again.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I really appreciate that the 2 of you are part of our church. You've been a blessing to me and my family. And one of these days, we're going to be able to invite you over to our house. I can't wait for that. And you came over when it was a mess. I hope for you guys to be able to come over when it's all nice and put together again.
That would be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this 5 to 5. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.